Hello, welcome to NA Community. In this particular video, we are going to discuss why we have to make notes in Roga Nidana. So, the main purpose of making notes is not to what do you say that the keep the notes as such, but to retain those information and to recall that information as and when required. That is the main purpose of making notes. There are two types of the notes are there, linear notes and non-linear notes. When you think about the linear notes, that is the continuous writing process wherein the person is not able to retain the informations in the long time. Whereas the non-linear notes, if the person is making, then that will be helpful in the long-term retention. So here we are going to discuss why we are going to make the notes. So it is a concept developed by Justin Sun, a doctor, a medical doctor, who has actually discussed about this particular aspect in terms of learning any subject as such. Of course, that can be even applied to other subjects also, and that can even be applied in the subject of Roga Nidana also. When you think about the why to make notes, first of all, we need to know what is the purpose of notes making, and the next thing, what is the big picture you can able to draw out of this particular notes making, and how can that be applied? How can I apply this information, and why this particular application is necessary, and how this information can be applied to other things which I have already learned. So that is from the known information we are going to unknown information. When you think about the first aspect, the purpose of notes making, when you think about this, there are in the first year there are the subjects as far as the Ayurveda is concerned. We are going to learn Samhita, Siddhanta, Padartha Vijnana, Rachana Sharira, Kriya Sharira, and Sanskrita. So when you think about these informations, so they are actually helping us in moving ahead in the second year, which is considered to be the subject where we are going to learn the Roga Nidana, Dravya Guna, Rasashastra Vaishajya Kalpana, Vijnana, Swastha and Agata Tantra. So all these information that you have learned in your first year, we are going to apply all those subjects, all those informations in each of these particular subjects. So whenever if you are going into the your third professional, so we are going to study Kaya Chikitsa, Shalya Tantra, Shalakya Tantra, Prasuti Tantra and Sri Roga, Kaumara Pratya, and Panchakarma as such. So in learning all these subjects, we are going to apply the principles of Roganidana, principles of Dravya Guna, principles of Rashastra Vaishajya Kalpana, principles of Swastha and principles of Agada Tantra. So all these subjects will be applied in each of the subjects that you are going to learn in your third professional year. Now, when you think about the Rogadana subject itself, its main purpose is to identify the actual Nidana. So, which particular cause is responsible for the disease manifestation? And if you are able to identify the right cause, then avoiding that particular cause is itself is considered to be the main line of treatment. So that is 50% of your effort is lessened when you are able to identify the right Nidana. So that is why we have to look into we have to dig deep into the subject of Roga Nidana. The knowledge of Nidana, that is identifying the cause, is not so easy. We have to look into what are the basic lakshana that are being present, because most of the individuals, they are coming to you when they are having the major discomfort. At that particular time, we have to identify the actual dosha that is responsible for the disease manifestation. And based on that, we have to go retrospectively and we have to identify what is the actual nidana the person is consuming, whether it is something related to the oral cavity or whether this particular pathogen exposure is happening in the nose or eyes or ears or anus or urethra or vagina or breast or any other internal srotas as such. So that is how we are going to identify the entry of these pathogens as such. Thereby, we are going to identify where these particular pathogens are moving, whether they are moving in the alimentary canal only, or whether they are moving in the intravascular compartment, or whether they are moving in the interstitial compartment, etc. That we are going to learn this particular informations. So that's why identifying the actual nidana is very, very important. And further, when you think about the learnings, most of the students they are coming with the background of physics, chemistry, biology, etc. In the first year, they are going to learn the principles of physiology and some of the Ayurveda basics they are going to learn there. That's why we have to apply these informations into the second year as such. Then the long term, what you say, that the memory may be possible so that they can able to apply those informations in their final year. That's why identify the nidana. For the identifying the nidana, we have to look into the even the rogi pariksha also. That so how we are going to do the pariksha and what is the method of doing that, how to elicit the information from the patient, that is what we can say the interrogation, etc. How we are going to what do you say that the inform or the convey the information that you are going to get through the history or through the patient examination or through the investigations, etc. All these we are going to inform to the concerned person as such, or maybe to the patient's attendants, etc. That has to be given. No, for that aspect, we have to identify the right cause, which is essential to identify the or plan the right kind of the treatment at the right time. And the next thing that we have to look into, that is we have to know about the bigger picture. So that is whenever if you think about the Roga Nidana, we are going to learn only a small portion. How to identify the Nidana and what are the different Pururupas are observed in the person and how to identify the Lakshana, what are the uh, dosha that are being getting vitiated and how to identify the srotas afflicted and how to predict the sadhya sadhyata and how we are going to identify dosha are present in the abhyantara roga marga or bahya roga marga or madhyama roga marga, etc. So that is the very limited. And when you think about the bigger picture, we are going to see in terms of the Ayurveda. So that is how this can be, what you say, that the principles of Ayurveda can be applied in Kaya Chikitsa, how that can be applied in the principles of Kaumara Bhratya, or how that can be applied in the principles of Prasuti Tantra and Sri Roga, how that can be applied in case of the Shalakya Tantra, how that can be applied in case of the Panchakarma, etc. That is a bigger picture. If you go into a still bigger picture, so that is we are going to look into the concept of health as such. So that is how this particular health can be understood with the help of Ayurveda aspect, with the help of Western medicine aspect, or with the help of homeopathy aspect, or with the help of the naturopathy aspect, or with the help of the Siddha system as such. So that is how the bigger picture of health that comes. And when you think about the even bigger picture, that is a knowledge ecosystem. So that is in terms of the technology or in terms of the, what you say that the other, the, what you say that the in terms of the creating the new learning models or to know convey the different informations, etc. So that is considered to be the different knowledge system, knowledge ecosystem, or otherwise how to write in social media, etc. That is coming under the bigger picture. So that means the bigger picture, whenever if you think about it, we have to think in terms of the all those aspects. So that is the application is how to convey the informations of Roga Nidana to the larger group of people. So that is the only way is to create your own ecosystem, knowledge ecosystem, and use the present day, the social media or other, the what do you say, that the uh, areas of giving the more and more information to these people regarding your services or products, etc. So that is a bigger picture that can be planned there. That is connecting the domain, one domain with the other is considered to be the essential thing whenever if you are planning the bigger picture. And the next thing is how to connect these informations. So let us take the concept of a human body and Roga Marga. So if you think about this, the mouth to anus, it is considered to be an alimentary canal as per the present day Western medicine understanding. And when you think about the Ayurveda aspect, this can be categorized under Abhyantara Roga Marga. And when you think about the intravascular compartment and interstitial compartment and intracellular compartment outside the bones, joints, and marma, etc., that is categorized under Bahya Roga Marga. And when you think about the intravascular compartment, interstitial compartment, and intracellular compartment inside the bones, joints, and marma, they are considered as Madhyama Roga Marga. The purpose of knowing this is the if the pathogens are residing in alimentary canal, that is easy to eliminate. Whereas if the pathogens are present in the Bahya Roga Marga, this may take little bit effort. Whereas the maximum effort is necessary if the pathogens are residing in the Madhyama Roga Marga as such. So that's why we can able to connect these informations based on the current Western medicine understanding and based on the concept of Roga Marga. And why notes making is important. So whenever if you think about the, here we are going to consider only about the Abhyantara Roga Marga. Whenever if you think about the pathogens entry, in this particular occasion, most of the occasions that will be coming through oral cavity. In that particular situation, the pathogens entry that may happen into the esophagus, and later that may happen into the stomach, and later that may enter into the small intestine, later that may enter into the large intestine. In this way, the pathogens that will be moving in the Abhyantara Roga Marga. Whereas there is another possible entry that may happen into the Abhyantara Roga Marga, that is through the nose. So wherein the some of the entry of these particulars, the water, etc., or some kind of the bleeding that is happening in the nasal cavity, etc., that can enter into the alimentary canal. Or otherwise, there may be a possibility of entry of pathogens that may take place through respiratory tract as such. So that is the sputum that is going to get that is going to get expectorated, and the people are not spitting out those sputum produced. Instead, they are going to swallow that. So that is how. So that may be considered to be the pathogens are entering into the alimentary canal. The other way of entry of the pathogens into the alimentary canal, that may be through the anal route. So that is while giving the enema treatment, etc. Apart from that, there may be a possibility of entry of the pathogens that may happen in case of the operations. For example, if the person is operated for gastric lesions, or if the person is operated for the small intestinal lesions, etc., small intestinal emergency conditions, in that way, there may be a possibility entry of the pathogens may take place through the other route than this. So in this way, we can able to understand, we can able to know why. So this particular notes making is important and how this can be interlinked as such, and how this learning can be applied to other informations. For example, applying the concept of Roga Marga with the Bahya Srotas and Abhyantara Srotas, wherein if the pathogens are being entering through the oral cavity, that is considered to be afflicting Abhyantara Roga Marga as such, wherein if the pathogens are entering through the oral cavity, through the nasal cavity or eyes, etc., there may be a possibility of what do you say that the what do you say that the Bahya Roga Marga affliction. In that way, that is the applying into this particular aspect that can be of important as such. Applying Roga Marga with the concept of dosha, that can be learned in this way also. Applying Roga Marga with the concept of pathogen. Applying the Roga Marga concept with the concept of Kriya Kala. Applying Roga Marga with the concept of Doshagati. Applying Roga Marga with the concept of Samprapti. Applying Roga Marga with the concept of the impact of Nidana in the body, and the list goes on. So like that, the principles of Roga Marga, if you know these informations well, then that can be applied to other unknown informations also. So to sum up, notes making is not just writing the information itself. Its main significance is lying in how to retain the information, how to recall the information as and when required. For this, there are two types of the notes making, that is linear notes making as well as non-linear notes making. So here linear notes making is not that much ideal, whereas non-linear notes making is giving more long lasting memory as such. So that's why we need to know why notes making is necessary. That is being highlighted in this particular video. In the next video, in this particular subject, we are going to learn how to start notes making in the subject of Roga Nidana. That will be dealt in the next session. What are the major key takeaways from today's discussion? Mention in the comment box below. And what is the one video that you'd like to hear in the coming days in this particular channel? Mention in the comment box below, and spread this particular video to maximum number of true Nidana learners so that we can make a huge movement out of this particular small message. That's all for today. Something more in the next video. Thank you.